Hey everybody, so we are here at the Chestnut Street Log House. This is emblematic of what the entire town here would have all been, these type of log houses. These are German. You can tell that by the fireplace is always in the center of a German log house, whereas an English log house would have them on the ends. This is how they heated their homes, that type of thing. George Stites was the founder of Lebanon. At that time, it would have been called Stites. You also had, we visited Light's Fort. That is on the northern part of Lebanon. The Light family, or the Light, the L-E-I-C-H-T, they built that, and they sort of were in the northern part of Lebanon. They were both at like different areas of these creeks, because that's how towns usually got formed. But George Stites would have bought a whole slew of land from like the Penn brothers, and then he would have laid it out, and this is where the town would have started to be laid out. Stites, as it was known then, and then you had Hebron, which we visited, the Hebron Moravian Cemetery. They were sort of competing for which town would wind out being the big town, and ultimately Lebanon or Stites won out. But this is what you would have seen throughout this entire street, all throughout this town, is a lot of the people, there were stone houses. If you were like a merchant or somebody of wealth, you would have that, or for the common people, you would have had the stone foundation and then the log house, because that was what was readily available. And this would have been from mid-1700s, 1780s, so French and Indian War, American Revolutionary War period. So we're going to check this out. You're going to actually get to see the Preservation Trust of Lebanon County. They're the ones that preserve this and do such a phenomenal job, and this is preserved because of them and their efforts. Otherwise, something like this of such historical significance would not be here. And you actually get to see inside this home what a home would have looked like in that colonial era. And like I said, this was emblematic of what you would have seen up and down this street. These are the homes that people would have had. We visited the outside, we have not visited the inside yet, so this is just a tremendous pleasure and a privilege. This is also on the National Registry of Historic Places, and that makes it that it's preserved, so nothing can happen to it. And once again, the Historic Preservation Trust of Lebanon County, they're the ones that preserve this, and this wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their efforts. So let's go inside, everybody. Okay, so one of the things I want to clarify, I believe it is, I have to check and make sure, but I believe the English ones are on the end, the fireplaces. The German fireplaces are slightly off center, they're not center. That might be another one, but I just want to make sure, because I was just talking to the gentleman here that's one of the tour guides. There's two of them here, and they're phenomenal. Like, the stuff they know, the knowledge they have is phenomenal. So I really encourage you, when they do, Chestnut Street Log House is open throughout the summer, I believe, on Wednesdays. I will get that information up. So if you guys want to come here to Lebanon and visit and take part in these tours, and they do have like Monroe Valley Chapel, I know that opens for like Christmas, and I believe Murray School might open a couple other times in the year. Not Tom Dunmore that really does everything for that. And Light's Fort, I can contact Jan Morrissey, who really does such a phenomenal job for Historic Preservation Trust for Lebanon County. We can get in at some point when I contact her again. But I want to turn this around, and we're going to go inside. I'm not going to go down just because I'm crippled. You can see how the roof works. Really, it's like wood shingles. Really, really neat. And the chimney is just all centered. This would be down in the basement down there. They would have put things like, they would have stored food and things of that nature, because it'd be cooler down there. And they didn't have refrigeration back then, so they would have like, not an ice box, but they'd have ice down there and things like that with salt chips, and that would sort of preserve everything. But these were really, really important parts for these log cabins. So we're gonna go in. I'm gonna stop this for a second and step up in, because it'll move great. Yeah, so we are in here again. Now you get to see once again these fireplaces from back then, just how neat these are. This was the center of the home, because that's what you kept.
This was not here. We had an image, like an implant, so we had a
rebuild.
Constructed, and unfortunately, where the fireplace is, the rest is a window. So, like, when they cooking, eventually, it's like it is a working fireplace, The last Sunday in November, we usually have a Yuletide,
Oh, nice.
a Christmas event. We have hot apple cider, we have refreshments, stuff for sale. Usually, visit from good old Saint Nick and his loving wife. Come give out candy canes and snapshots. Somebody comes and plays Christmas songs.
Oh, nice.
We have raffles, fruit basket. Somebody does another gift basket to give away
Yeah.
to a prize. And then we have the house open. So that's the last Sunday in November, 1 to 4 as usual. Again, we have the house open every Wednesday, July and August, 1 to 4. Every Wednesday, 1 to 4 in July and August. We have it open. So we have this. We wanted to get rid of the house, but as we noticed where the fire chimney is the original place from the log house.
Mm-hmm.
So we fought from the city to get the deed back.
Yeah.
They gave us one-time grant of $14,000 or so. Do what you want. They said this is all you're gonna get. Do what you want. So we this year on the other side in the grandma, on the living room we have pictures over there. You can see this was a linoleum floor. We tore this up and seen old floorboards where you see it's not regular nails.
Yeah.
What is used is old.
Oh, yeah, you can see the heads here.
Heads
These
nails.
would be blacksmith nails, correct?
That's wood heads nails,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, you go and a pattern of 2 to 1.
Yeah.
2 to 1, 2 to
Yeah, see
1.
how he's saying, he says there's 2 and then you have the 1 in the center there
Yeah.
to keep everything. That's
And
impressive.
we are not sure of the year, but if you look like across the street here,
Mm-hmm.
you see that the house
Yeah.
is very low. We were not sure what year it was raised,
Yeah.
but this house is about maybe 5-6 inches higher.
Yeah.
We're not sure, but this here, it shows here the original depth of how high it was.
Oh, wow.
Somebody asked the chairman here, Joey, have you ever seen skull bones and everything in here?
The kid's saying, are there any Indians down there?
Yeah, probably
And
not.
we said, no, sorry to disappoint you, you know. Now, we do put Gary down there occasionally.
Yeah.
Yep.
If he misbehaves.
If you
that's
and you
where
let
we-
him out eventually after he's made his penance.
Yeah.
I was down there trying to change that light, and it's very hard to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta be
It
Oompa
is
Loompa to
very
get
hard
down there.
Look underneath there to change the light.
Well, true enough.
But we're thinking too, this here might be like the refrigeration,
Yeah.
because when they do the canning that they have from the garden there, they do
To preserve everything.
peaches, sauerkraut.
Salt their
This
meats.
might be
Yeah.
the refrigerator.
Yeah.
We do have an apple tree over here.
Yeah.
They might do that. We had my one cherry tree that we just planted maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But their main refrigeration is
right here in the basement.
Yeah.
It goes right down.
Yeah, I was mentioning to him as like that was an essential part of these cabins. That's where they preserved their food and kept everything at those times.
This garden here would have been planted with foodstuffs that they would have used over the winter. Many of the people who lived in a log house such as this one were farmers, and this was not what they sold. This was for them.
Yeah.
But they usually had an outlot, maybe 1 or 2 miles away, where that was their cash crop.
Okay.
And so that they would have sold.
Yeah.
And the majority of people back at that time would have been in the farming business.
Oh yeah.
So, and that was also the reason they had large families, many children,
Take care of the farm.
child labor.
Yeah. Cheap.
Yeah,
You just got to feed them every now and then.
Yeah, the boys went with the father
Yeah.
to the outlot in the day. The girls were here with mama because everything they did, the washing, everything, labor intensive.
Mm-hmm.
So the boys went to school when they were not required to help with father.
Yeah.
The girls did not go to school until a certain time when people got smart and you need to send everybody to school.
Yeah.
You know? So the early schooling for the girls was practically non-existent.
Yeah.
But the boys got some schooling. There was an old schoolhouse up at Tabor Church.
Oh,
up
yeah.
there, right on the corner there, there was one. I don't know whether that was the earliest one or not. But
Probably was, because usually in the 1700s it was the churches that ran the schools. And then eventually you started in 1800, you started to see the public school system evolve, but it
Yes.
was usually the church is the one that, so that makes sense that it'd be Tabor, because that was sort of about the same time as Salem, but that was the one I remember. That was a friend, Jared Blau, does a lot of stuff with school. Him and his dad did the thing for Cornwall Iron Furnace where they talked about the education system in Lebanon County. It's really interesting, but this is one of the earliest schools that they had in the area, because back then it would have been Stites I guess.
yes,
Yeah, and
That's
then
what it says on
and
the
maybe you can answer this. George Stites is probably buried over at Tabor, I would assume.
never been confirmed.
Yeah, they never confirmed it, but you would think that was, he gave the land for both churches, but yeah, because
You
the
would-
church
you would
records
think
just
that,
don't say anything.
I don't know whether that'll ever be solved.
Yeah, it's like Baron von Stiegel. Nobody knows where he's
Same
buried.
thing, yeah,
You know, it may be buried in Brickerville with his one wife, but who knows? It's, you know, a number of these guys, the very, very early founders, probably in a farm family plot is where they were buried, but maybe because he died right around the time when Tabor was formed, like a year later. But that's one of the shames. You wish you knew where he was
Yeah,
buried, because
exactly.
he's such an important figure to Lebanon.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, I guess with Stites, the churches still, I think there's still 1 or 2 churches that give one red rose
yeah.
each year.
I know Tabor, they stopped it for a year with COVID, but then they started it up again.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they started it up again. LCBC's like, we'll continue that thing that they couldn't. Tabor shut down. I think Salem does it, possibly. I'm not sure if they do or not.
I think we do, yeah.
Yeah, so I know these
Yeah.
churches, that was the German Palatinate function that they gave, because they did that down Myerstown at the Tulpahawken Reformed. They do a white rose now for some reason, but they used to do a red rose till I think Teddy Roosevelt. It was somewhere in that period he like gave them 133 white roses and was part of that function, and ever since it's been a white rose for them.
Well, I think the amazing thing too here is, I know in Lebanon, at Tabor, and I think also down at Tulpahawken, they can still find descendants
Yeah,
of the original
yeah,
guy
Mhm.
that will come up and,
yeah.
and
Because
participate.
it's the Casper Wister was the one down at Tulpahawken, so it's his
Right.
descendants, and then it would be Stites' descendants from either the other church, since he gave the land grants for both of those. That's such an intriguing part of history. There's a romance to it too, because it's that going and saying this to the family, we still appreciate what he did to give
Yeah.
us his land,
Yeah.
and the history of these churches is extraordinary. It really is. So
Yeah, I think the last article I ever saw, I mean, the person who was there, hello.
Hello. Just checking it out. We don't want to interrupt.
No, well, was like the seventh generation from,
yeah,
Stites or
Mhm.
Worcester.
yeah,
But yeah, it's neat to have tradition like that carried on.
yeah, absolutely. Because it's showing honor to our predecessors. We wouldn't be here without them, and it's so important to preserve this history, because this was the frontier. Like, this was a hard life, and they put all that effort in to build something better. As one guy just heard a thing, he's like, America is the place of grandchildren, because your grandparents are the ones that came here, took all the risk, worked so ridiculously hard to get, and then you are reaping the benefits of what they sacrificed, in essence. So it's
Well, you look at this, you're welcome to listen in and I'll help you. But the thing is, you look at what you see here today and you realize this is before mechanization.
yeah,
Everything here was hand labor.
mm-hmm,
And, these logs were hand hewn.
yeah,
And and the only reason they knew how to do this is because they brought with them from the old country the knowledge that
Yep.
they had.
yeah,
And fortunately, in those days, and when this was built, why they had enough knowledge that they could.
and they worked to a degree as a community too, to help each other, because each one of these logs would have taken forever, because they did it all by axe. Yeah,
Along with that one story, we think there would have been a well
yeah,
on the property out here.
Mhm.
And many times in those early days, there was a well which served as the well for
the community, yeah, number of neighbors and stuff. Yeah,
the houses
yeah,
nearby, let's
yeah,
say.
yeah.
So,
Because there was no running water. It was all buckets bringing the water to you here. As I said, this is the center place of the home right here. That was your warmth. That was where you cooked. That was everything. Your essential was
There's actually two places in the
Yeah.
house that has heat.
okay.
And that's here at the stove, the fireplace, and there's actually a fire stove of one in the
Oh.
living room.
Oh, neat.
And it's not really the stove that should be there. What should be in there is a 5-burner stove that is in there, like they had back in those days.
Yeah. Which is going to be impossible to find at this stage, probably.
Yes. We are still trying to find one, but
Yeah.
Like you said, it's
They're-
really
it's
hard to
rare.
find, yes.
Of that age.
You know, it
And
had,
one thing I forgot to say, when we did this, with these beams, we when we got this was a drop ceiling. We took all the drop ceiling down and found these beams. Some of them you'll see is white finishing,
Yeah.
so you'll see that this doorway here leading into the bedroom was not here.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of figured we'll put like a doorway here
Mm-hmm.
to give the parents some privacy when they're here.
Yeah. Once again, guys, thank you so much for what you do. This is extraordinary privilege to be here.
sure you sign up.
I'll sign up before I head out then, yeah.
And there are things regarding the garden tour this year, which is in northern Lebanon.
Okay.
There's some information about the house.
Okay.
You're welcome to take that along. And
Yep.
become part of us whenever you feel so inclined.
No, I plan on doing. I want to join the organization and then
Good.
start helping to like wherever they need people to help with tours and fixing up.
Excellent.
Trying to encourage a lot of people like, hey, these are organizations, they need volunteers, they need help, they need funds to keep this going. You know, it's
Well, I still think word of mouth is
word of mouth is how you build it, because a lot of people, they just don't realize this is right outside your back door, and it's an extraordinary part of history.
It's a membership thing. You
Okay.
can put that anywhere. If you have a website, you can
Yeah.
put that there.
Never inside. I've driven by it
If
a
you have a
1,000 times.
website or
Wow.
whatever.
So this is definitely, people, if you
Okay,
want to
that'd be
become a
great.
member here, here's the way to do it. And they have their PO box where you can send the checks to, and Jan Morrissey, like we've talked to her several times,
Right here at the bottom is our PO box number.
and that can help preserve places like this, Monroe Valley
There's
Chapel,
a website.
yep, the Light Sport, and the Murray Schoolhouse. These are all important places to continue to preserve and come to be able to visit.
Like I said, we have the house open today, 1 to 4. We have it open July and August, 1 to 4 every Wednesday. So feel free to come and
Oh, absolutely, I'll be back.
stop by, look at the place. If you were never here, we appreciate all
Yep,
anybody stopping in, looking
Yeah.
at the place, getting all the history you can.
yep, absolutely. So thank you once again.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Of course.
Appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll wind up getting this up probably today or tomorrow on
Say
YouTube.
for what YouTube.
Yeah, it's called the Hometown Historian channel. So I do a lot of stuff all Lebanon County and surrounding county.
You have a contact.
I don't have one on me, so, but it's called the Hometown Historian. I'll actually post this video on Lebanon the Preservation Trust of Lebanon County. We've been sharing back and forth. So, yeah,
What is authentic
Yep.
reconstruction?
you'll be on YouTube.
Wife will see that. Thank you much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And this concludes part 3, the kitchen of the Historic Preservation Trust of Lebanon County, the Chestnut Street Log House. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all about town.